My name is Matt Singleton, and I'm with Bible Smack Ministries. Today I want to focus on, I guess it's kind of a rebuttal to a response, or maybe a response to a response. Originally this was Kent Hovind giving a presentation supporting the King James Bible and why it uses it. And the response was given by James R. White of Alpha and Omega Ministries. And essentially, White's kind of taken the time to attack Kent's position and kind of show him, how horribly uneducated anybody who, supports the King James Version or the Textus Receptus or the Masoretic text, truly is, and how they're just a hazard to, anybody, and they can't defend the gospel, yada, 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 yada. Well, anyhow, by the way, I guess you could go to the channel that White is operating from is Dr. D-R-O-A-K-L-E-Y, Dr. Oakley, 1689. Now, me kind of being around the block and knowing theological circles, I guess it's probably 1689 Baptist Confession. But anyhow, to me, this is kind of interesting because Kent Hovind, this whole presentation for James R. White is the perfect scarecrow argument for two, maybe three specific reasons. Okay, the first thing is Kent Hovind himself. Number one, his degrees. He's got 3 degrees, and they're all unaccredited. In other words, he got 3 Bible college degrees. Most of the time when he does his presentations, he's not really focused on the King James Bible version issue at all. He's really focused on creation science and his take of that. And there have been people, not only in secular science, but even people in Answers in Genesis who've argued with him over getting his facts right in creation science. Well, now, he's going on a totally different topic. So is he going to be, quick as a whip? It's like a lot of what the guy believes. I love the guy. He sounds great. But, he's not going to be the sharpest tool in the shed. Okay? It's just not the way it's going to be. And then the other thing that's kind of interesting is that he's in jail. He came to the conviction that the national federal income tax here in America is an illegal tax. And a lot of people have come to this point. But essentially, I know some people who do this, and if you were to do it, you better make sure you know the law very specifically yourself and not rely on lawyers. And unfortunately, Kent did not getting all his facts straight again. Well, here's the problem. So this guy's in jail. So James White can sit there and just call him every name in the book, and Kent cannot respond. So, this is why I felt like, respond to this, even though some of the stuff that Kent's going to go on, I don't agree with as far as, he's not the most accurate of scholars. He's just not. So, we kind of go at it from there. He recommends at the end of his presentation, Gail Riplinger. Gail Riplinger's got a horrible reputation. Her version of scholarship is that she does have a degree from Harvard, but it's in home decorating. So, it's like, you got a home decorating degree, and, you're supposed to be a King James expert. It's just a lot of problems. So, basically, so you got somebody who's, not very well scholarly trained. He's a quack. Now, there's a lot of quacks out there. James White would probably kiss the rear end of Hank Hanegraaff. And Hanegraaff is a quack. Okay, he got a honorary doctorate a couple of years back by Southern Evangelical. Honorary. He just didn't go to Bible college. It's not like he wasn't making enough money either. They gave him a $65,000 car. Okay, the car alone could have got him a Bible college education somewhere. Okay, but he doesn't do that, and so okay, that's fine. But the thing is, if you're not from an accredited institution, the problem is we don't know how objective your learning is going to be. So you got to take that where it comes. I think that you can, get your education without ever getting a degree. In fact, I feel like I've learned more out of the classroom than in it. But at the same time, you want to kind of have something that kind of says, okay, he's looked at every, angle of this. Not only did he study theology or the Bible, he studied hermeneutics. That way people have a rounded education, and they've been able to kind of think about these matters as, legitimized accredited expert. Um, and I think James White could agree with that because I think he got 3 degrees from one institution that wasn't accredited. But he did get 2 or 3 degrees from an accredited institution. Now, when we go about this, there's a lot of things that, White is quick to point out. I think one that he jumps the gun on is the issue of the Alexandrian school, which produced the Greek text that was what a lot of people call the critical text. And basically, this is the one that's used by modern translations in a general way. Because he's going to really start going off here about, how general and how specific you get when it comes to the facts. Even though he's going to be kind of general himself when it leans over to his side. So, that has to be taken into itself. But basically, Kent Hovind kind of putting some jabs in there, kind of says the Alexandrian cult as opposed to the Alexandrian school. Okay, so usually we say it's the Alexandrian school that kind of produced the Alexandrian manuscripts, the codex that was in the Vatican, Codex Vaticanus, or the codex that was in Mount Sinai, Codex Sinaiticus. Well, basically, and then there's also the Antiochian school, which produced the text that you would get with what we call the Byzantine manuscripts, and also where we get the Textus Receptus eventually. Okay, not to get you all the Textus Receptus made during the Reformation. Okay, but anyhow, in that I'm trying to be careful there about like getting very specific or very general. But anyhow, he does like to play splitting hair games. One, okay, as I said, Kent Hovind, not the best scholarship here. He mentions the Latin Vulgate as an Alexandrian text. Okay, well, White's like up in arms, and he's all like, hold on, he used the Hebrew to translate the Vulgate. Okay, well, the truth is, if we want to be objective, he did both. Okay, he used and used as a resource the Hebrew manuscripts. Jerome, the man who wrote down the Latin Vulgate, he used